Good morning. It's June 13th, and we're in First Kings 11 today. And I guess when I come to First Kings 11, I wonder if Solomon wished that the record would end in First Kings chapter 10 when it looks like he's very successful on the outside. There are some hints even in First Kings 10 that all isn't right, but when we get to First Kings 11, it's made very explicit that King Solomon, however, loved many foreign women besides Pharaoh's daughters, Moabites, Ammonites, Edomites, Sidonians, and Hittites. They were from nations about which the Lord had told the Israelites, "You must not intermarry with them, because they will surely turn your hearts after their gods." And this is explicit in Deuteronomy 17 as well. There's a list of things that a king is supposed to do and not do. Not a very extensive list. It's not long and certainly not unmanageable. But one of the things it says is they shall not intermarry with these other nations or have many wives. These kings, and certainly he has many wives, 700 wives, 300 concubines, and we look at that and we think about the adultery aspect of that, and that's certainly an issue. But the bigger issue, I think, is the alliances that these wives symbolize for Solomon. They are alliances with foreign nations, and God has said that their strength and their security is supposed to be in Him alone. They aren't supposed to have these alliances with other nations or have a lot of horses or silver or gold in which they are going to place their trust. But they're supposed to be reliant fully on God, dependent on Him. And so all these reserves and powerful things there, not necessary for Israel, and in fact they are wicked because they are showing that they refuse to rely on God's strength here. So unfortunately, we see this wise man of Solomon who has God appear to him twice, and yet goes astray because he fails to appropriate that wisdom to his own household, to his own moral life. And again, I've said this before when I've talked through this passage, but I don't think Solomon woke up one day and said, "I'm going to go headlong into idolatry or wickedness or stray from the Lord." But there was a number of small, maybe thousands of small decisions or failures to make decisions that led him to this point. And so it's a gradual decline, and it just shows the corrupting nature of sin in our world and our lives, that if we allow a foothold, that it leads to ever greater sin and drift from God's plan for us. So it's a sad story here that leads to sad consequences, not just for him, but for the generations after him. He's going to have his kingdom torn away from him, and civil wars that will go on for generations after that. And of course, the decline of the kingdom all happens because of this. There's only three generations that have that united kingdom under Saul, David, and Solomon, and even that is an abbreviated and partial unity during that time. So it's I think good of Scripture that it shows us the sad consequences of these terrible decisions, and it allows us to see Solomon's um, wisdom, but also then his faults and his bad decisions and his wickedness, and doesn't gloss over that for us. So it's a sad record, but it's necessary for us to see this reality of God's people. So that's it for today.